I've been waking up every morning to drive my autistic brother to college, on 2 hours of sleep. After listening to him yell, slam things, and keep me up all night only for him to skip class anyway. And somehow I'm still the one being told I'm the problem. I've defended him. I've covered for him. I've sacrificed my own life to keep his from falling apart. But now, I'm thinking about walking away. No rides, no backup, no safety net, even if it means he fails out and everything crashes. And I can't tell anymore. Am I abandoning him when he needs help the most, or am I the only one in this family finally willing to stop enabling him? I'm 21, and right now I still live at home. It's me, my dad, and my younger brother, he's 19. We're both autistic. So when I talk about sensory overload, burnout, or needing space, I'm not guessing. I'm not judging from the outside. I get it. I know what it feels like when everything is too loud, too fast, too much. I know what shutdowns feel like. I know how exhausting it can be just to exist some days. But my brother, he experiences things differently than I do. And it's not just because of autism. It's because of how everyone around him has handled it his entire life. Where I had to learn how to adapt, how to manage myself, how to push through uncomfortable situations, he was taught something else entirely. And now we're both adults. But we're living with the consequences of two completely different upbringings. Growing up, my brother was always accommodated. And I don't mean supported in a healthy, structured way. I mean everything around him was adjusted, so he never really had to face anything uncomfortable. If he got angry over something small, like a word being used wrong or a change in plans, the response was immediate. Just leave him alone. If he started yelling, he's overwhelmed. If he refused to do homework, help around the house, or even finish a basic task, he's tired. Don't push him. And I get it, there are times when those things are real. I've had those moments myself. But with him, it became the default. There was never a line. Never a point where someone said, "Hey, I understand, but you still have to try." So slowly, over time, he figured something out. He figured out that if he used the right words, overwhelmed, too tired, I can't handle this, everything would stop. The conversation would end. The expectation would disappear. The responsibility would fall on someone else. And once that worked a few times, it worked every time. I remember moments growing up where we'd both be asked to do the same thing. Clean something. Help with something simple. And I'd push through it, even if I didn't want to, because I knew I had to. But he'd say, "I can't. I'm overwhelmed." And that would be it. He'd go back to his room, and I'd be left there finishing both parts. At first, I didn't think much of it. But as we got older, the gap between us got wider. I learned how to manage myself, how to regulate, how to function, even when it was hard, because no one was going to step in and remove the discomfort for me. But he never had to learn that. He learned that discomfort meant escape. That frustration meant someone else would take over. That accountability just didn't apply to him the same way. And now, we're both adults. But those patterns didn't stay in childhood. They followed him into everything. Living with him now is exhausting. And I don't say that lightly. It's not just big arguments, it's the small things. The constant tension. The feeling that anything, literally anything, can set him off. I remember one night we were all just sitting in the living room. Nothing dramatic. TV on, everyone quiet, and someone, I think it was my dad, said something like, "Can you move that off the couch?" And instantly, my brother snapped his head up. "No, that's wrong." The room just paused. My dad looked confused. "What?" "It's not a couch," my brother said, already irritated. "It's a sofa." Not joking. Not teasing. Angry. My dad kind of laughed it off. "Okay, the sofa then." But that didn't help. My brother sat up straighter, voice sharper now. "No, you don't just switch it after. You said it wrong." At that point, I tried to step in, gently. "Wait, so you mean the couch, the sofa?" And he turned to me immediately. "No, you're wrong." I blinked. "I'm just repeating what you said." "You're not listening," he cut in. "Louder now. You're twisting it." And just like that, the whole mood shifted. What was a normal, quiet moment suddenly felt tense. I could feel my chest tightening, trying to stay calm. "I'm not twisting anything," I said carefully. "I'm just trying to understand what you meant." But that only made it worse. "You don't need to understand," he snapped. "I already explained it." "Why are you arguing?" "I'm not arguing." "Yes, you are." He raised his voice. "You always do this." And there it was. That escalation. 0 to 100 in seconds. And it wasn't even about the word anymore. It never is. Because with him, it's not just about being right. It's about control. And the hardest part? He genuinely believes he's right. Not just about words, about everything. There have been times where I've tried to explain how I feel like, hey, that upset me. And without hesitation, he'll say, no, it didn't. Like, he knows my thoughts better than I do. You're misunderstanding your own feelings, he'll add. And that gets to you in a way that's hard to explain. Because it's not just frustrating, it's invalidating. It makes you feel like your reality doesn't even belong to you anymore. And if you try to talk to him about any of this, it doesn't go well. At all. One time, after things had calmed down a bit, I thought maybe, just maybe, we could have a normal conversation. No accusation. No pressure. Just clarity. So I said, carefully, hey, earlier, when you raised your voice like that, it kind of upset me. I kept my tone calm, neutral. I wasn't attacking him. I wasn't blaming him. I just wanted him to understand how it felt. But he didn't even pause. No, it didn't. I blinked. What? You weren't upset, he said. Like it was a fact. You're just misinterpreting your reaction. For a second, I genuinely didn't know what to say. What do you mean? I was upset. He shook his head immediately. No. You're confusing frustration with something else. I can tell. And the way he said it, so confident, so certain. Like he had direct access to my thoughts. I felt my chest tighten a little. I think I know how I felt, I said, trying to stay steady. But that only made him more irritated. No, you don't, he snapped. That's your problem. You think you understand your own brain, but you don't. There was this moment of silence after that. And it didn't feel like a normal silence. It felt heavy. Like something just shifted. Because how do you argue with someone who believes your own feelings are wrong? I'm not trying to argue, I said quietly. I'm just telling you how it affected me. But it didn't affect you the way you think it did. He shot back. You're exaggerating. And that's when the confusion hits. Not just frustration. Confusion. Because you start second-guessing everything. Like, am I exaggerating? Did I overreact? Was I actually upset, or am I just saying that? And that's the part that messes with you the most. It's not the yelling, it's not even the arguments. It's the way he talks about your own thoughts, like they don't belong to you anymore. And the worst part? When my dad hears any of this, he doesn't step in to correct it. He doesn't say, hey, that's not okay. Instead, he looks at me and says, why are you pushing him? Just drop it. You know how he is. And after hearing that enough times, you start wondering if maybe they're right. If maybe you really are the problem. On top of all that, I'm the one driving him to college every day, because driving overwhelms him. And I've tried to be understanding about that. I really have. But there was this one morning I barely slept. He had been up until almost 4 a.m, again, virtual reality headset on, talking loudly, laughing, pacing around his room like it was the middle of the day. I was lying there, staring at the ceiling, just waiting for it to stop. It didn't. So when my alarm went off a few hours later, I felt wrecked. I walked into the kitchen, still half awake, and he was already there on his phone, completely fine, and something in me just snapped. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Can we talk about last night? He didn't even look up. What about it? You were really loud, I barely slept. And I have to wake up early to drive you. I wasn't that loud, he cut in immediately. I took a breath. You were. I could hear you through the wall. No, you couldn't, he said flatly. You're exaggerating. There it was again. That same pattern. I'm not exaggerating, I said, a little more firm now. I'm just asking if you can be quieter, especially when you know I have to get up early for you. He finally looked up at me, and I could see it already, the shift. Defensive. Irritated. Why are you making this a big deal? He snapped. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I didn't say you were doing something wrong, I said. I'm just saying it's affecting me. No, it's not. He shot back instantly. You're just trying to start something. I'm not trying to start anything. Yes, you are. His voice raised. You always do this. You always try to make me the problem. At that point, my dad walked in. And for a second, I thought maybe he'd help. Maybe he'd actually listen. Hey, I said, turning to him. I'm just trying to explain that I'm not getting enough sleep because he's up all night and I still have to drive him. But before I could finish, my brother cut in. He's attacking me again, he said. I didn't even do anything. And my dad didn't even hesitate. He sighed, already annoyed. Why are you starting this first thing in the morning? He said to me. I just stood there. I'm not starting anything, I said quietly. I'm just asking for a little consideration. My dad shook his head. You know how he is, he said. Just leave him alone. I can't just leave it alone, I said, frustration creeping in. I'm the one driving him. I'm the one not sleeping. So what do you want us to do? My dad snapped. He can't help it. And that hit hard, because it wasn't even a conversation anymore. It was already decided. He turned to my brother, softer now. Just ignore him, he said. Ignore me. Like I wasn't even standing there. Like what I was saying didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. I felt this tight pressure in my chest, like I couldn't even get the words out properly anymore. I'm not trying to fight, I said, quieter now. I just need sleep, that's it. But my brother just shook his head. No, you don't, he said. You just want control. And my dad? He didn't correct him. He didn't step in. He just looked at me and said, if you don't like it, you can leave. And that was it. Conversation over. Problem solved. Just not for me. I've tried talking to my family. Over and over again. I've said things like, this isn't sustainable. He needs real help. He should go to therapy, it's literally free at his school. And every time it just goes nowhere. What can we do? He's an adult. That's the answer I get. But somehow I'm still the one expected to carry everything. Because my days don't stop. They just repeat. Almost every night it's the same pattern. Around midnight, the house gets quiet at least for a while. Then, sometime after 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I start hearing it. His virtual reality headset turns on. Voices, movement, laughter, like it's the middle of the day. At first, I try to ignore it. I put a pillow over my head, turn to the other side, tell myself, just sleep through it. But I can't. Because it's not just background noise, it's constant. Sharp. Sudden. Unpredictable. Him talking to people online. Him reacting loudly to whatever he's playing. Sometimes even pacing around his room. And all I can think is I have to wake up in a few hours. I check the time. 2:17 in the morning, 3:04 in the morning, 3:48 in the morning, and I'm still awake. Then my alarm goes off. And it feels like I just closed my eyes. I drag myself out of bed, already exhausted, already irritated, already behind. Meanwhile, he's fine. Sometimes he's still awake when I get up. Other times he's asleep. And I have to wake him up. Hey, we have to leave soon. He groans, says he's tired. And I just stand there, staring at him, thinking, of course you are. We get in the car. Most mornings, it's silent. Not peaceful silence. Tense silence. The kind where I'm gripping the wheel a little too tight, trying to stay focused, trying not to snap. Because I'm running on barely any sleep. And he's in the passenger seat, scrolling on his phone like none of this affects him. Then we get to campus. And sometimes he just doesn't get out. I'm too tired, he'll say. Or, I can't handle it today. And just like that, that's it. We turn around. Drive back home. No class. No consequence. No urgency. And I sit there, driving back, feeling this mix of anger and disbelief building in my chest. Because I just lost sleep, drove him all the way here, put my entire morning on hold for nothing. And the worst part? This isn't rare. This is normal. Day after day after day. And while all of this is happening, I can't even get a job. Because my schedule revolves around him. I can't commit to anything stable. I can't build anything for myself. Because if I stop, everything falls on him. And everyone already knows he won't handle it. So I'm stuck, exhausted, frustrated, running on empty, carrying someone else's life while mine just stays on pause. The other day, things finally boiled over. It wasn't even one big moment. It was everything building up all at once. He had been up until almost 4 in the morning again, loud, talking, laughing like it was the middle of the day. And I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling more and more drained with every passing hour. When morning came, I didn't feel tired anymore. I felt empty. I walked into the kitchen, keys in my hand, and my dad was there. My brother was in the living room, on his phone like always, and I just couldn't keep it in anymore. Can we talk? I said. My dad barely looked up. About what? I took a breath. About this. About everything. This isn't working. He sighed, already annoyed. What now? I'm serious, I said, trying to stay calm. I'm not sleeping. I'm driving him every day. He's not even going to class half the time. This isn't sustainable. My brother rolled his eyes from the couch. I am going to class, he muttered. No, you're not, I said, turning to him. You've skipped multiple days this week. I was tired, he snapped. You're tired because you stay up until 4 in the morning. I shot back before I could stop myself. And just like that, the tension snapped tight. There you go again, he said loudly, blaming me for everything. I'm not blaming you, I said, trying to steady my voice. I'm asking for some kind of solution. My dad shook his head. What solution? He said. He's an adult. He makes his own choices. Then why am I the one responsible for getting him there? I asked. Silence. For a second, no one answered. Then my dad shrugged. Because you can drive. That was it. That was the answer. I felt something sink in my chest. He needs help, I said, quieter now. Real help. Therapy. Support. Something. It's free at his school, he could. I'll go when I'm ready. My brother cut in sharply. You've been saying that for months, I said. I said I'll go, he snapped. And until then? I asked. What happens until then? No answer. Just tension hanging in the air. I can't keep doing this, I said finally. I'm exhausted. I can't work. I can't focus on my own life. Everything revolves around him. My dad let out a frustrated breath. So, what do you want? He said. You want us to force him? I want you to actually step in, I said, instead of putting all of this on me. But he just shook his head again. You're making this bigger than it is, that one hit. Bigger than it is? I repeated. I'm not sleeping. I'm losing opportunities. Then stop complaining and deal with it, he interrupted. Or don't. I froze. What does that mean? It means if you don't like the situation, he said, looking straight at me. You can leave. And there it was again. Not support. Not help. Just an exit. My brother didn't say anything. He just sat there, watching. And in that moment, I realized something. They weren't going to fix this. They weren't even going to try. Because as long as I kept stepping in, they didn't have to. Because here's the part I can't escape. I care about him. I really do. No matter how angry I get, no matter how exhausted I feel, he's still my brother. I've seen him struggle. I know what it's like to feel overwhelmed, to feel like the world is just too much. And part of me keeps thinking, what if he really can't control it? What if I walk away and everything falls apart? What if I'm the reason he fails? That thought sticks with me. It sits in the back of my mind every single time I even consider stopping. Because I don't want his life to collapse. I don't want to be the person who gave up on him. But then there's the other side of it. The part I can't ignore anymore. The part that's been building for months, maybe years. I'm exhausted. Not just tired. Not just I need a nap tired. I mean drained. Like there's nothing left to give. And I keep asking myself how much of my life am I supposed to sacrifice before it's too much? Because right now, I'm not building anything for myself. I'm not working. I'm not moving forward. I'm not even functioning properly half the time. I'm just surviving. For him. And the worst part is it's not even helping. Nothing is changing. He's not improving. He's not taking responsibility. He's not trying. So what am I actually doing? Am I helping him or am I just making sure he never has to change? And that realization, that's the one that really hits. Because if I keep going like this, nothing gets better. Not for him. Not for me. I just keep losing more of myself until there's nothing left. And I don't know when that line got crossed between helping and slowly destroying my own life. But I know this now. I can't keep doing this forever. I just don't know if I'm strong enough to stop. So now I'm stuck. Every part of me feels pulled in a different direction. On one side, he's my brother. Someone I've grown up with. Someone I know is struggling in his own way. Someone who might genuinely fall apart if I step back. And the idea of being the reason that happens, that sits heavy. But on the other side, there's me. My health. My future. My life that's been on pause for far too long. Because the truth is, what I'm doing right now isn't sustainable. It's not fixing anything. It's not helping him grow. It's just keeping everything exactly the same while I slowly burn out. So I keep asking myself, at what point does helping someone become hurting yourself? At what point is it okay to say, I've done enough? And if I finally choose to step back to focus on my own life, to let him deal with the consequences of his own choices, even if that means he fails, does that make me a bad person? Or does it finally mean I'm choosing myself? I honestly don't know anymore. So what do you think?